time back stateside has been amazing. I mean, even though COVID was there, we still did almost 30 church visits in person and another 20 visits with superintendents and church leaders and pastors we weren't going to their church at. And then opened a new store in Lansing.
And now we're moving another store.
Relocating this store. So it's been quite an interesting 5.5 months. We will be for the next year dividing our time between the Balkans and here until we figure out exactly when the transition. But even after we transition, we're still going to be probably spending 4 months of the year in the Balkans because we have the company and the ministries over there supporting the churches that are separate from the denomination, but yet partnering with the denomination.
Yeah. Okay. So give us a little clearer picture of what's going on. Like, what is it that you guys are doing, as clear as you could make it anyway?
Sure. Let me start back and go that a year and a half ago, our work became a provisional annual conference. So one step below North Central Conference there. Yeah. They have their own elected superintendent, their own leadership board. So the missionaries moved from being overseers to partners or coaches on the side. And so we're going to still be developing it, but with the fact that they're now doing their own leading and that they don't need me there to set the tone and evaluate. So what we're doing is moving into the coaching role in the economic component. Our goal was 1 microloan or 1 livelihood group for every church plant. We currently have 8, but there are 38 church plants.
Okay.
So we're a little behind. So we're going to be focusing on developing, helping to develop each neighborhood or each town, create opportunity for their people to be employed to help support their families, but also tithing and supporting the local church.
Gotcha.
So we're the economic component of the holistic ministry of what's going on in the Balkans. Okay. And so with that, we have to spend a little more time figuring out how to get what they make and now what others make out to people so that we have the funds to invest in them making more product. We're wanting to not only, do the livelihood groups, which is what we've primarily done, but also begin to do education with sharp individuals within the congregation that could start a business, but may not have what you call the capital, the upfront. Sure. And so we've done business loans, and we've actually done 5 of them with individuals. Mostly they were pastors that actually we loaned it to initially, and they've started, because all our pastors are bivocational. And so they work other jobs or have their own business to support their families while they also pastor and do ministry within the church or the community. And to us, it's a holistic because it's long-range sustainable. If we plant churches and they only do ministry when we provide them funds, then in the long run, they're not going to survive. But if we from the beginning say, listen, we're not going to give you a lot of money, but we'll try to figure out ways to help you generate money so that you can sustain that long term in the process.
Okay, awesome. And so then your role back here now is, all right, a lot of what they're doing business-wise is creating a product, and we get to help distribute that product to others.
Correct.
Okay.
We do that through our online shop, through our 2 stores, and then whenever we come and do a presentation at church through the table or display or whatever we set up that people can make purchases from. And we're looking to find churches or other businesses that would have a corner kiosk with some of our product in, either on consignment or they could buy wholesale. Because for us, the idea is the more that we get what is being made out there and sold, the more people can make it back because we have to replace what we've got or don't have anymore.
When are you going back? When do you anticipate heading back over?
Our flights now are scheduled for January 28th.
Okay.
But they've been scheduled for 3 different times, so we'll wait and see.
Yeah. So when the Lord says, now it's time to go.
Yes.
That or the government says COVID's not a problem, you can go.
Okay. So what are you guys looking forward to when you get back there? Like, what are you excited about over there?
Seeing our friends that we've met over 14 years. I mean, it's the longest we've been in one community, technically. And so having not been with them for almost 5 months, 6 months, we're looking forward to being back with them. Plus getting the livelihood groups functioning again and hopefully expanding 2 or 3 more so that we can continue with the vision of what needs to take place, because the people, the year that we've sort of been on suspension since last March, we haven't been able to have the groups make anything because we can't get to the villages or weren't allowed to, and vice versa. So it was just hard with COVID to produce anything that we could then ship.
Okay.
So we're looking forward to getting back and doing that. I'm looking forward to the Mediterranean style food, especially the Sirene and Kashkaval cheese.
Yeah.
And in February in Bulgaria, we have snowdrops that come out. So that's a flower. So I get to see that again.
Nice.
Yeah. So the first sign of spring is when the snowdrops start blooming.
Yeah.
So when you get over there, you've got 8 of your 38 kind of already going, number 9, right? And 10, and so on. What's that process look like? Like, do you go to the church plant? How do you know if you're going to do a loan or a Thrive group? Like, kind of walk us through that.
Well, for the most part, we'll work with our overseers that are observing or working with the church plants and ask them, where's the greatest need? So we determine need first. And so villages that have greater needs we'll look into. Then we begin to assess, well, what are their skill levels and or what is the ability? If there's some sharp people that could start a company or are interested in it, then we'll dialogue with them about it. They've got to present us with a business plan.
Okay.
You know, I'm not going to go and say, well, you should, repair engines. If they don't know how to fix engines, I'm not going to tell them they should start fixing engines. But if they have a skill or something they're doing, and then we're going to ask them, well, what would it take for you to make that a living, and go from there. If it's a livelihood group, we'll begin to look at what skill levels or what abilities we think we could teach the individuals, the men or women that are in that, and we'll go from there. One of the new groups that we'll be starting is in our girls' home, or the young women's home now, because we couldn't get the licensing for it, but we'll be working with 18, 19-year-olds aging out of the orphanage system. And so we'll be probably teaching them some sewing skills and that, and they'll make products, but that skill is something they can use to get jobs in other factories once they finish the program very easily. Yeah. So that's going to be probably one of the first ones that we will focus on, is that component.
Okay.
After that, we're looking at we've got a lot of knitting, so we're probably going to be looking more in the fabric or wood manufacturing line and figuring out what we can get made in those capacities.
Over these next 3 months, what are you most excited ministry-wise, project-wise, to really jump into and try to make some headway on, or improve, or brand new startup?
Well, we're really hoping stateside that our new location in the Jackson store here will become a much more marketable tool than where we were. We went to the mall because that's where we started, but with COVID and with just restrictions and so forth, it just it hasn't worked. In fact, I mentioned we opened a second store up in Lansing in another mall. That store in 3 months made the same amount of money as the Jackson store did in 12 this year or last year.
Yeah.
So we need this store to, we've reduced our overhead. So actually it's going to cost me the same every month for the 2 stores as it used to cost me for the one in Jackson. So, but we have twice the ability for income to come in. So we're very excited. We think that's going to give us a stronghold. We've been approached by at least 3 other malls asking us to consider putting stores in. We are not going to, at least not regular stores, but we may do a holiday shop.
Gotcha.
Next fall, and see how that goes. But, we're finding that we do the work, and we started with the work in the Balkans, but we're now engaging with individuals all over the world. We have over 20 partner organizations that we work with on 5 continents and almost 30 countries. So, for example, we just got connected with a guy that does youth development funding in Kenya that makes soapstone sculptures that are really cool. And so, he's sending me pictures every day of things they're making, but it's going to be a new thing. We had a gal come into our shop in October, said, I'm working with the Free Methodist Church in Burundi. And I went, what's her name? because I thought I knew almost all the missionaries. I didn't recognize it. Well, come to find out, she's working for the General Conference of the Free Methodist Church in Burundi. She's the granddaughter of a former missionary, developing strategies for economic development. So she had a bunch of stuff that she was able to bring in her suitcase, but no churches, because of COVID, wanted to have anybody coming in to speak that they were even meeting.
Yeah.
So we were able to buy her product and sell it and give her money to reinvest. But also during the time she was here for 3 months, she worked in our retail establishment and learned what the American market is looking for. So when she goes back, she's going to help them develop more strategic products that can be utilized here through our store and other outlets.
So we're wanting to continue what we're doing, not just in the Balkans, but spreading even farther
Sure.
and seeing what God will do. We're taking one step at a time.
We envision coaching people on how to develop economic ministries that's part of the holistic approach to how we function as people in a church.
What is Jesus teaching you these days?
He's teaching me to trust as we move forward. It's going to mean some potential changes, and that means security or not security. And so for us, the whole issue is, okay, do we really believe this is what he's called us to do? And if so, will we get out of the boat, so to speak, or we want to stay in the boat and just throw a net in every once in a while? And so that becomes the challenge that I'm facing is, okay, do I really go jumping even deeper than I'm currently in order to see the dream that we have happen?
Yeah. Okay. What about you, Diane?
And for me, when it's unsteady times like this, I've had several seasons through my life that it's been what I call driving through the fog. And God just carries you through. And if you just stay with him and stick close to him, then you don't get lost.
Yeah. Yeah. Excellent.
His faithfulness.
So how can we, over these next 3 months, be praying with you guys?
Pray for wisdom, that we would follow the leading of the Spirit and do what he says. Pray for blessing on our endeavors, both the start of new livelihood projects as well as the revenue in order to make that happen, because every livelihood group really takes about $5,000 initially to start up, because there's the raw materials and then there's several months salary that we have to pay before we're actually getting product in order to sell to market and then funds back. And so just that all of the things that God seems to be challenging us would happen, and we would trust him to bring about those changes, and encourage people to check it out online and get things if they can, or buy things if they need to, or if the church wants to have a display, my son will ship you products and you can have a table.
Is there anything else you'd like to share with our churches down here?
We just want to thank you for your regular support of our personal ministry, also of the virtual Christmas gift box. We actually did almost 1,000 people. Some of it because of COVID, we modified it, and we actually were able to give more for food for families that didn't have it. In fact, we just got pictures. I'll be putting a video together this next week of actual recipients getting what was given this Christmas. So thank you for your gifts and contributions there, because it did and does make a huge difference. And that's part of the holistic approach, is also meeting the physical needs from time to time.
And we are not there, but we were able to give supplies and stuff for the pastors to be even more a part of the lives of their communities. So
and this year, instead of us, in the past, we've gotten the list, we've bought the presents and given them the gifts. Because of COVID, we weren't able to transport, but we wired them money based on the value of the number of kids, and they went out and bought and wrapped and distributed, and so they own it more now than even before. That's and awesome. that may be how we do it in the future. These things keep evolving. God keeps moving it, and when we did almost 1,000 families or individuals in 3 countries, when we started this again 10, 12 years ago, I was thinking maybe a couple hundred kids in a couple churches, not dreaming that it would grow. We raised over $15,000 to make this happen this year.
And as we tell the children, the church is the hero.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Because
good.
there's no foreigners ever there when the gifts are given out.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
So,
Well, for those who aren't already subscribed to a newsletter or know how to follow you, what's the best way for them to access all of that?
go to almellinger.com.
almellinger.com.
Yep.
Right.
And up there, there's a thing. It says sign up for the weekly email. If they put your email address in there, it'll come to you automatically once a week. Do you get ours?
I get it. Yep.
Yeah. So that's the easiest way, is to go to our website, sign up, and it'll come to them as an email. Even if they can't read it then, when they see the subject line, tell them, say a quick prayer at that point and go back to it when they have insomnia, and that'll put them to sleep.
There you go. So thank you guys. Praying for you as you get ready to take off, and hopefully those dates don't get pushed back and you can get over there and get back to what the Lord has called you to be doing.